What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Unstruggle Mindset podcast. I am your host, Ryan Glenn. On this episode, we are going to the movies. Not literally going to the movies, but we're going to talk about the top 5 movies that I found had the most inspirational message in my life. Some of my favorites that really hold that inspirational value. Before we get started, if you wouldn't mind, please like and follow this podcast on your favorite podcast provider. If you are watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel, click the little bell so you don't miss any episode updates. And let's get started. So we're going to the movies. So these are going to be the top 5 movies that I found, or at least my top 5 favorite movies that have that inspirational message, motivational message, things like that. It's just a little fun episode. So let's get started. Number 1, a lot of people have not seen this movie, but in the 90s, there was a MTV movie called Joe's Apartment, starring Jerry O'Connell. And a lot of people, it's a comedy. It's a fun movie. So a lot of people haven't really seen it, but it's about a guy who moves to New York City, and he rents this apartment that is inhabited by cockroaches, and the cockroaches talk and all that kind of stuff. But it's really funny. But this movie, as funny as it may be and as raunchy as it may be, it does hold that inspirational value, because Jerry O'Connell, who moves to New York City to become an artist, he has a rough go at it. As soon as he gets to New York, like I said, he rents this apartment. It's a nasty, disgusting apartment. But it's inhabited by cockroaches. The apartment's a mess. It's got food everywhere when he moves in. It's got mold everywhere, things like that. Nothing really works right, but he makes the best of it. He makes the best of his journey, and he won't let it stand in his way. Eventually he befriends the cockroaches. but yeah. But in the movie, there's also a female actress and a female character, and she has a dream to create this old nasty lot that's next to her office building and convert it into a garden. And she wants this nice, beautiful garden, nice, clean space in this ugly city where people can go and just relax and become inspired and things like that. So she sets out to build this garden. Well, after she builds the garden, it ends up getting caught on fire. It burns down. Everything's done. So she feels defeated and things like that. But with the help of Joe and a lot of the city members, they actually rebuild the garden. And it's actually a funny story, because there's a band in the movie called Shit, and Joe becomes inspired by this poster that says shit. So he thinks, shit, manure, that's how you grow plants and things like that. So he goes around town and he's chasing horses down and taking their poop and collecting dogs' poop and things like that. And he uses the poop as fertilizer for the garden, so they all rebuild the garden. So it has many messages in it. As number 1, you can't give up on your dreams no matter what's going on. It's always, no matter what you want to do, when you're chasing your dream, you're going to have a rough go at it most times. There's going to be days where you want to give up. There's going to be days when you question, what the hell was I thinking, or something like that. And if you want to push, then you got to keep going. And then, of course, the inspirational message being that when there's something to be done, there will always be a community to come together and get it done. So that is the first on the 5 of the movies that I found had the inspirational message. That was Joe's Apartment, starring Jerry O'Connell. You could check it out. I haven't found it on any streaming services. You probably have to buy it on Amazon Prime or whatever. I'm sure it'll be cheap. The next movie that I'm going to talk about, number 2, is a film made in the 20 teens, starring Billy Bob Thornton and I don't remember his name, but it's the John Heder, the guy that plays Napoleon Dynamite. But this movie is called School for Scoundrels. Now, I love this movie. I absolutely love this movie. But when I worked for the drug and alcohol rehab center, I used to take this movie in, and we would watch it during the therapeutic movie time, because I found that it has such a great message. But the movie is really about, John Heder. He's like a loser type. He gets kicked out of the Big Brother Big Sister program because he's a wimp and things like that. So he enrolls in this class that's taught by Billy Bob Thornton. And spoiler alert, I'll just let you know now. I'm going to spoil all these movies, but it's for the good, so people will go out and watch them. But anyway, he takes this class that is taught by Billy Bob Thornton, and it's School for Scoundrels. And it's got Michael Clark Duncan is his assistant or whatever, and it's pretty funny. But basically, Billy Bob Thornton teaches these people how to be, predator like, how to be assholes, basically. But in the movie, I really dig it because in the class, Billy Bob Thornton says things like one of my favorite things he says in the movie is, do you think a lion asked for his dinner? No, he takes it. And it's things like that, like where Billy Bob Thornton is trying to push these people to take what they want instead of just asking for it and letting the world tell them no. And that's the main idea behind the course. But it's got a lot of funny stuff in it. And Billy Bob Thornton eventually ends up taking John Heder under his wing and things like that, and really going at him for the class. And of course, he steals his girlfriend and things like that. And John Heder thinks he's a jerk and he's a fraud, but really he's taking John Hetter's girlfriend or the girl that he wants or whatever as, you need to push, you need to come at me. And they do think they go paintballing and stuff like that. And it's just one of those things where, again, the world is a rough fucking place, really rough. The world is just really rough. And if you go through life asking for permission for stuff, a lot of stuff that you want to happen is not going to happen, because the world's not going to give you permission. And who is there to give you permission? Nobody. The only person that you need to get permission from is you. And I'm sorry, I'm a little scatterbrained. It's still pretty early, but yeah, like, the movie holds some solid value. I would really recommend checking it out. Again, it's School for Scoundrels. It's starring Billy Bob Thornton and John Heder. Really good movie. But the inspirational value is there, the motivation is there, and it's a really great movie. All right. So next up on the list, my number 3 favorite movie. And this is a lot of people's favorite movie, but Big Daddy with Adam Sandler and the little Sprouse twins. But of course, the value is there. This is one of my favorite all-time movies. I'm a big Adam Sandler guy, but of course the value is there because Adam Sandler wants to adopt this child, and his friends, his family, he's immature, he's irresponsible, he can't hold a job. He's running out of money from a lawsuit where a cab ran over his foot. His girlfriend leaves him for a much, much, much older man, and people look at him like he's a putz. Like he's never going to do anything with his life. And once Adam Sandler set his mind to, he wanted to be a father to this child. Once he set his mind to his goal, he started changing. He started adapting to his environment. He did what he needed to do. He talked to his family. He, changed their mind and things like that. So ultimately, he did what he needed to do. He assessed the situation. And in the end, of course, he ended up adopting the child. And, there's no better inspiration than the movie Big Daddy. It's such a great movie. It's always going to be a favorite all time for me. But yeah, I mean, it's a great lesson in pushing for what you want, because a lot of people will say, I want to reach this goal, but it is so hard, and I don't have time to do the things that I need to do, and instead of making time to do the things they need to do, and it's one of those things where they give up because they don't put in enough effort. And Big Daddy really serves the purpose and the inspiration in that category. So the next movie I'm going to talk about, which is number 4, so we're almost at the end. Bill and Ted. So now bear with me here. Bill and Ted it's a classic with Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter. Everybody knows Bill and Ted. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Bogus Journey. Now Bill and Ted Face the Music. But everybody knows this movie. But a lot of people don't really look at the inspirational value from the movie. You see Bill and Ted, they have their band, the Wild Stallions. But in the original movies, Ted's dad wants to send him away because he's not going to have a future in music, and he feels he's wasting his time. So a lot of times we find ourselves in this situation where we're pushing for a goal that we want, but our family or our friends tell us, you're wasting your time and it's a dead end. You're never going to be able to do it. And, a lot of times we give into this and we believe this bullshit because these are the people that we trust the most. But had Ted moved away and the Wild Stallions broke up, they eventually would not have been the ones to save the world. And they go to the future with the guys and the guitar and stuff, and be kind to each other, or be excellent to each other. I messed up the line. That didn't happen. Nobody's seen that. But and that's another thing about the movie, be excellent to each other. Bill and Ted, no matter what they go through, no matter how they're treated, they treat everybody like a friend. They treat everybody kindly. And that is absolutely rare in this world, because we live in the world in a time that it is more popular to treat everybody like shit and expect everybody to be shit. So Bill and Ted, it does hold that inspirational value. It does hold that motivational value. And it also sets goals for our society, because like I said, we live in a time where it's expected and it's, accepted that people treat other people like garbage. So Bill and Ted. So to recap the list so far, because we've gone all the way through 4, Joe's Apartment, starring Jerry O'Connell from the 90s. School for Scoundrels with Billy Bob Thornton and John Heder. Let's see, Big Daddy with Adam Sandler. School, and Bill and Ted with Keanu Reeves and Alex Winters. So each one of these movies hold that inspirational value, hold a little bit of motivational value. While you're having fun, you're watching a movie, you're watching a great movie. Sometimes you're watching a classic, but just pay attention next time you watch these movies and you'll see what I'm talking about, where that inspiration is there. Because of course, my life motto is inspiration is absolutely everywhere, no matter where you go. And it's funny, before I get to the number 1 movie, a couple years ago, I was driving down the road on Dixie Highway in Muldrow, Kentucky, which is a little town between Radcliffe and Elizabethtown in Louisville. Well, I was driving down the road and there was a strip club and the strip club, on their sign, it said, "Big things start small." And I was like, hey, inspiration is literally anywhere. So I stopped, I pulled over, I took a picture of the sign. It's somewhere on my Facebook page. But even driving down the road, if you're paying attention, a sign at a strip club, can big things start small. And then I got to thinking about it. I was like, well, now I understood what they meant, but inspiration's everywhere. But off of my rant, so let's get to the number 1 movie that I found has a lot of inspirational value, a lot of motivational value. It's an amazing movie, and that is 8 Pounds, starring Will Smith. Now, this movie made me cry like a freaking baby, and I could almost guarantee that it's going to make you cry like a baby, unless your heart is made of stone. But 8 Pounds is an amazing movie. It's a nice drama about Will Smith, and he meets these 8 people. And these 8 people, they all have their own issues. They have something going on where they need help, but they're not getting any help. And then again, spoiler alert, in the end, it turns out that Will Smith can help all these people by ending his own life, because they all need some kind of organ. And he, for whatever reason, has a jellyfish He has a pet jellyfish. So he actually ends his life in the bathtub with the jellyfish and ends up helping all 8 people. And like I said, spoiler alert, big time, because I just ruined the ending for you. But still, though, it is an amazing movie. There's so much I couldn't even begin to get into that movie. Every little detail. It is such a great movie, and but it just goes to show you that we go through this life. A lot of us do. Most of us do. And we have the mindset that who am I to help somebody? I don't have any means to help anybody. I'm broke. I'm barely getting by myself. I can't help, because we automatically in our mind, it always goes to, in order to help somebody, you have to give them money or you have to support them financially or whatever, because that's one of the big things in our life that people are struggling with is finances and money and things like that. But really, there's so many ways that we can help other people, regardless of financial interest, regardless of our circumstances, because a lot of people just shut it off. They shut it off. They think I can't help anybody, so they don't even try. This movie is a perfect example. Again, it's 8 pounds with Will Smith. I recommend everybody watching this episode, listening to this episode, go watch this freaking movie, and bring the Kleenexes. Because it's gonna make you cry like a baby, I can guarantee it. But it's such a great movie and it has such a powerful message. So, to recap the episode, a couple things that I wanted to go over. Inspiration is literally everywhere. We have to open our eyes, we have to heighten our awareness, and we have to listen to life and evaluate its lessons. And that is one of the 10 principles of the Unstruggle Mindset. And it's amazing. Once you got to that point where you're paying attention, you have that heightened awareness and you know what you're looking for. Inspiration is literally everywhere. And these movies fall nothing short than a great example of that concept. So that's all I have for you on today's episode. I hope you enjoyed this trip to the movies with me. If you did, share it on your social media with your friends and family, anybody you think needs to hear this message. I'm so glad that you got any kind of value from this lesson to where you want to share it. The only way this podcast grows is by you sharing on social media with your friends and family and bringing those people to me so I can help them out and help them unstruggle as well. If you're on YouTube, again, I appreciate you so much. Please like and subscribe to the channel and click the little bell so you don't miss another episode. I love you guys so much. You guys are my world. Thank you very much for tuning in. I will see you guys in a couple days.